Viewing Scrutiny Committee. Could I please have a nomination for a member to chair this meeting, please?
Councillor Morvey thanks you very much but declines and wishes to nominate Councillor Mandy Owen.
Members, could you vote on whether you'll accept Councillor Mandy Owen as chair, please? That's carried, thank you. Councillor Owen, could you come and take the chair, please? Thank you.
Thank you very much, members. Right, okay, we're going to go through the agenda. So, item number 2 is attendance. There's an attendance register going round, so can you make sure that you sign it and for any declarations of interest in it? Item agenda 3, apologies for absence. Have we had any apologies?
Yes, Chair, we've got apologies from Councillor Brooks, Cameron, Constance, Furzer, Harnett, James, Alan Jones and Seaborn. Thank you, Chair.
Members, are there any other apologies? Councillor Tate?
Sorry, not apologies, just declarations of interest. I'm a governor on Comfort Owen.
Should we wait till we get to the next one?
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Okay, item agenda 4 now, declarations of interest. Can I hand you over to Tim James? Give us some advice.
Thank you, Chair. A couple of declarations I'm aware of already, members, as follows. Councillor Tomlinson, firstly. I believe that you wish to declare a personal interest, reason being twofold. You're a council-appointed governor at one of the schools affected, and in addition to that, your grandson attends one of the schools affected. Is that correct? Thank you. And then Councillor Giles Davis. I believe you wish to declare a personal-only interest on the basis that you also are a council-appointed governor at Garnteg Primary School. Is that correct? Councillor Davis? Mr Mayor? Yes, thank you. Councillor Taylor, I think you have started telling me about an interest you wish to declare. Could we hear a bit more about that, please?
Yes, I am LEA governor on Comfort Owen School, so because it's mentioned in the report, I declare an interest in that.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Taylor. My advice would be that would be a personal interest, yes. Thank you. Councillor Wade?
Could I just mention, my name is not on the list at all on you, so I don't know what you can do, just write it in, or...
Yeah, just add your name in, Councillor Wade, that'll be fine. Was there any declaration aspects, Councillor Wade, or not? No? Any other declarations, members? Councillor Jeremiah?
Can I just say that we're all governors of different schools, so that doesn't matter anyway, does it?
No, it doesn't, Councillor Jeremiah. I think the issue is that the Cabinet decision that's being challenged refers to 4 specific establishments, and the issue, as far as I'm concerned, is whether you have any involvement in any of those 4 specific establishments. Okay?
Okay, members, no other declarations of interest? Can you make sure that you do write them in the attendance book register, please? Okay, move on to agenda item 5, minutes of the last meeting. I know this was quite a while ago, 22nd of July 2014. They begin on pages 3 and go on to 10. Should we take them page by page? Page 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Any matters arising from any of them? No? All happy to note? They're correct? Yeah. Thank you. Okay, right, so we'll move on to item agenda 6. Challenge to a Cabinet decision made on the 6th of October 2015. These start on pages 11 of the agenda. The key messages in this report are: the purpose of the report, was that the committee needs to consider a challenge received to the Cabinet decision made on the 6th of October 2015. Cabinet received a report at the meeting on the 6th of October entitled Schools Reorganisation Proposals Arising from the 21st Century Schools Programme. One of the recommendations within the report was to commence formal consultation in relation to the proposals to close Victoria Primary and Abersyck and Bryn Teg Nursery School with effect from the 1st of September 2017. So I just want to make it clear that no decision was made for closure. This was made for consultation, to go out to consultation, okay? Cabinet, with the exception of a single executive member, agreed all of the recommendations within the report. This decision has been challenged, so Council overview and scrutiny need to consider the challenge and make recommendations as appropriate. So you've all got the papers, so I'm going to bring in now Councillor Wayne Tomlinson. Would you like to read out your challenge, please?
Thank you, Councillor Mandy Adams. Before I read out my challenge to the Cabinet decision agreed on the 6th of October, and the next stage of the consultation which may lead to the possible closures of Abersyck Primary and Bryn Teg, I will make a brief statement on why I have taken this challenge. The 21st Century School Closure proposals has been well documented, with the Council taking the decision to include every school in the borough since October 2010. With the building of new schools fit for purpose for the future education of our children is a policy I would recommend as a sensible policy for the 21st Century Schools programme, and one I welcome when in times of austerity. But to close schools considered to be old, under-maintained and not fit for purpose, and to amalgamate by extending further into other schools, is a policy which gives me much concern. The consultation, which took place at Ganteg and Confidor in June and July over 2 afternoons, only a relatively small number of stockholders attended the 2 events, 13 at Confidor and 17 at Ganteg. Similarly, a relatively small number of responses and comments were received in respect of the proposals. The Council would argue that all consultees, governors and parents were consulted on the dates of the consultations, and their statutory duty to consult had been adequate enough based on the Welsh Assembly Code, which all local authorities need to follow in Wales. But what if that consultation had been held at Victoria Primary and Bryn Teg Nursery, the schools meant for closure? The Council, I would believe, would have been faced with a much larger response from the consultation process. Community dissatisfaction from parents over the consultation has been more apparent since the Cabinet report was published, with over 2,000 people who signed a petition. My ward councillor Gwynaira Clark and Cabinet member asked fellow Cabinet members to defer the report and to allow further time and consultation to take place based on the concerns in my challenge. Since the report, community anger has grown because the views of the schools were not known to them, and they can now see clearly from the report that this is about closing Abersyck Primary and Bryn Teg Nursery. This is not one-day news that will go away. But the Cabinet agreed to move on to the next stage of consultation and accepted the officer's report that the first part of the consultation recommendations and the business plan are correct. But I say to members, if you are mindful to continue to move forward and agree the Cabinet decision in this chamber today, then I have no doubt that Victoria Primary and Bryn Teg Nursery will return here again in January, and the community's voice will be much louder and will be listened to. Victoria Primary and Bryn Teg Nursery have excellent staff who have worked their socks off to achieve the standards of education needed. The Eastern Inspector's report into Abersyck Primary back in July of this year is testament to their hard work where no further inspections are required, because the school has fulfilled all the necessary parameters to make the school fit for purpose.
I'm sorry, Councillor Tomlinson, I'm sorry to butt in, but I just wanted you to know that the webcast is not working, and so all of this is not being sent out. Just wanted you to be aware of that. So I don't know if you want to hold fire, and because I think it's vastly important to a large number of your constituents.
We've been just discussing this. Would you like to hold off for 5-10 minutes until we get the webcasting up?
Yeah.
So sorry about this.
That's okay.
Okay, right, so we've just, because a lot of people are watching at home or trying to watch at home, so I think it's appropriate that we hold off. So we're going to come back in about, well, hopefully 5 minutes. Okay? Yeah, so we'll just have a 5-minute adjournment, okay? Thank you.
Chair, given that this meeting is now going to be considerably delayed, it's on, is it?
Okay, welcome back. We did have an issue with the webcasting. I don't think there's any need to go through the reasons why we're here. I think we're all happy to carry on, and we just start off with Councillor Tomlinson's challenge. Is that okay? Yeah? Okay.
Thank you, Councillor. Before I read out my challenge to the Cabinet decision agreed on the 6th of October, on the next stage of the consultation, which may lead to the possible closure of Aberystwyth Primary and Bryn-Teg, Victoria Primary and Bryn-Teg, I will make a brief statement on why I have taken this challenge. The 21st Century Schools closure proposals has been well documented, with the Council making the decision to include every school in the borough since October 2010. We're building of new schools fit for purpose for the future education of our children is a policy I would recommend as a sensible policy for the 21st Century Schools programme, and one I welcome when in times of austerity. But to close schools considered to be old, under-maintained and not fit for purpose, and to amalgamate by extending further into other schools is a policy which gives me great concern. The consultation which took place at Ganteg and Confidor in June and July of over 2 afternoons, only a relatively small number of stockholders attended the 2 events, 13 at Confidor and 17 at Ganteg. Similarly, a relatively small number of responses and comments were received in respect of the proposals. The Council would argue that all consultees, governors and parents were consulted on the dates of the consultations, and their statutory duty to consult had been adequate enough based on the Welsh Assembly Code, which all local authorities need to follow in Wales. But what if that consultation had been held at Victoria Primary and Bryn-Teg Nursery, the schools meant for closure? The Council, I believe, would have been faced with a much larger response from the consultation process. Community dissatisfaction from parents over the consultation has become more apparent since the Cabinet report was published, with over 2,000 people who have signed the petition. My ward councillor, Gwynaira Clark, and Cabinet member, asked fellow Cabinet members to defer the report and allow further time for the consultation to take place, based on the concerns in my motion. Since the report, community anger has grown because the views of the schools were not known to them, and they can see clearly now from the report that this is about closing Aberystwyth Primary and Bryn-Teg Nursery. This is not one-day news that will go away. But the Cabinet agreed to move on to the next stage of consultation and accepted the officer's report that the first part of that consultation and recommendations and the business plan are correct. But I say to members, if you are mindful to continue to move forward and agree the Cabinet decision in this chamber today, then I have no doubt the Victoria Primary and Bryn-Teg Nursery will return here again in January, and the community's voice will be much louder and will be listened to. Victoria Primary and Bryn-Teg Nursery have excellent staff who will work their socks off to achieve the standards of education needed. The Eastern Inspector's report into Aberystwyth Primary back in July of this year is testament to their hard work, where no further inspections are required because the school has fulfilled all the necessary parameters to make the school fit for purpose. Both Victoria Primary and Bryn Teg play a vital role in our community, and it cannot be acceptable to rip the art out of our community, especially when the Aberystwyth ward is classed as a community first area. So I call on my members to agree my challenge, and I will now read out my challenge. I, Councillor Wayne Tomlinson, challenge the decision of the Cabinet made on the 6th of October 2015 because 1. I have genuine and serious concern based on the Cabinet figures. 2. That no Cabinet member understands the logistics of the journey that children, parents and carers would be faced with and the needs of disabled children. 3. There are no surplus places at Victoria Primary School, and over 70% of the children who attend the school are from the catchment area. 4. Business continuity. Is this more important than children's education and welfare? And 5. There is a case for school building improvement or extension on or near the Victoria Primary site. I propose the Cabinet reconsiders their decision taken on the 6th of October 2015 in the light that this report is 4 years out of date and the major changes have taken place in relation to Victoria School and Bryn Teg Nursery. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tomlinson. Okay, members, should we, before we open it up to debate, ask the officers to respond to that? Everybody happy to do that? Okay, Dermot, would you like to come in?
Thank you, Chair. Let's see if I can try a different microphone. Thank you, Chair. In response to the challenge, can I say that no one in the education service, I'm sure no one in the Council takes lightly the idea of closing the school. They are fundamentally important to our communities. We really do recognise that. So we never enter into any process which is going to impact on the school in any sense in a light-handed way. We look in detail. And we'll try to make sure that all the concerns that have been raised as part of this discussion and any concerns that are raised going forward, we answer robustly. What I do need to say, though, is that the challenge as you go through to 5, all will form part of the actual consultation process itself. As the Chair has already pointed out, we've only asked for permission to go out to consult, to really tackle the issues that you've raised today, to put the detail in the community's hands. I think we're up to about 60 pages in terms of the pack of information that we're getting ready for the consultation, because we want to have that debate. We want to make sure we're getting this right as well. That's in everyone's interests. The point around, particularly that the process is out of date, because the decision was originally taken in principle in October 2010. Every time we come to a new phase in Band-A of 21st century schools, we reevaluate where we are. We look at the most up-to-date information, we make sure that our plan's still right, and really the community need, in our view as officers, the opportunity now to look at that information as well. So really, Chair, that's what we're trying to do in terms of the paper to Cabinet, and to seek that opportunity to have that debate in the community.
Thank you, Chairman. Okay. Councillor Davis.
Right, I'd like to support Councillor Tomlinson with his challenge as a ward member. I think the Education Department has got it wrong here with Victoria, because the evidence is Victoria is a fit school for purpose. The 77%, I think it is local children going to that school from the local catchment area. Comfrey Door School, so I've been told, has drainage problems. It's in the Eston report, subsidence problems and terrible access problems to the site. It needs a new roof. It needs rewiring. To me, that's unfit for purpose, where Victoria is fit for purpose, with a small amount spent on it. Also as well, there's no safe routes to schools to Ganteg, Harbours Road, where we asked for the Cabinet to come out and walk it. There's no pavements. We've got photographic evidence of how bad it is for the children to go up there. A lot of the children now at Victoria School have come from Snatchwood School, which was closed down as part of the 21st century schools. These children are going to be displaced yet again if this goes ahead. The new schools are in completely the wrong area. According to the 21st century schools, the school has got to be where the catchment area is. Carbon footprints, etc., etc. What they want us to do is close our fit-for-purpose building, which is in the heart of the community, which has 77% of children from the local area, to move them or bus them down to down to Cumfridor or up to Garn Teg School, which is up a massive hill, through a housing estate, which again isn't fit for purpose for the 21st century. So I got to support Councillor Tomlinson and Councillor Gwynaira Clark, who put concerns forward to Cabinet. There's been no traffic assessment carried out, which I think is absolutely disgusting, really. The Estin report states as well that even if they do close Victoria School, there still be surplus spaces up until 2019, which would mean there'd be a lot more school closures, not just ours, throughout Torfaen. So are we doing the right thing by moving these children from Victoria? Also as well, throughout the summer holidays, we've had parents contacting us from the area, because all our schools are full, saying, my children can't get into Victoria School, I've already got one child there, the other one's got to go to Blenavon, or the other one's got to go to George Street. That isn't 21st century schooling, splitting up communities and splitting up schools. That's absolutely disgusting. So I think I urge everybody here to vote against this and just say, look, enough's enough. It's not working.
Thank you, Councillor Giles. Councillor Morby?
These issues are always emotive. Sometimes the language used is a little bit inappropriate. Nobody, I think, is suggesting really that officers take decisions which are disgusting. What they're trying to do is actually guide the council in the implementation of its policy, 21st century schools policy. The fact is there's a sequence to decision making which needs to be respected. The first thing you ask when your school is proposed for closure is, where are my children going to go? And the fact is that the decision that Cabinet took in respect of Garn Teg and Cumfridor was absolutely essential in order to be able to answer that question. Because we're now going to, if that decision is implemented, spend some £8 million on ensuring that Cumfridor and Garn Teg can admit that the children from the schools proposed for closure. Now, whether that's right or wrong is a matter for further discussion. But that is why you had a decision taken by Cabinet to say, yes, we are intending to improve Garn Teg and Cumfridor by this expenditure to create the spaces which are needed. And then we will go out to consultation with those schools which are proposed for closure as a consequence. So that's why it was done in that way. Now, you can still argue, everybody can still argue about whether that's the right decision. And I've no doubt that Wayne and Giles and parents and staff and others associated with Victoria and Bryn Teg will want to argue their case. And that's right, that's the democratic way. That's the way we've been approaching this all along. But you have to respect the sequence. You can't have a proper consultation without being able to answer the very difficult question, or the very reasonable question that parents ask, where are my children going to go? And now we've got a basis for having that consultation, and that is the right thing to do. I'm not saying at this stage that it's the right thing to do to close Victoria and Bryn Teg. That is a matter for us to consider when those consultations have taken place, when we've seen and heard the breadth of opinion, when we've had all the questions asked and hopefully answered in respect of safe routes to school and so on. But it's premature to say, now we can't do this. Well, you can decide that, but what you would be doing really is saying, we don't accept what you said, Cabinet, and referring it back to Cabinet. Well, I don't think you give them any choice in the matter. They're going to say, until we go out to consultation, how can we make the final decision? So I'm moving that we note Cabinet decision and have this debate in due course when the results of the consultation come back to us.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Morby. Before we vote, just Councillor... Oh, that's fine, okay. Councillor
I was just going to say, I apologise if I come across a bit, upset, but as I said, if I wasn't upset, I shouldn't be a councillor for that area, because at the end of the day, I'm there to represent my ward, and, at the end of the day, I'm very passionate about it. So.
Councillor Evans.
Thank you, Chair. A couple of things I just wanted to get clarified for my own reasons. First of all, you touched on the consultation not being held in the school, which I would have thought would have been preferable, because more parents would have probably attended the school. There must be a reason for that. Perhaps you can expand on that. The traffic assessment as well has been stated here this afternoon that there was no traffic assessment carried out. Is that usually the case? Because I thought there would have been a traffic assessment carried out. And finally, Councillor Williamson makes reference to major changes to the school. Can you expand on the major changes that are referred to, please?
Do you want to come in, Dermot, now? Or?
I'm not sure. I think you might need to refer back on the major changes to the person who made the comment. I'm not entirely clear on that one myself. In terms of the consultation, there's two different bits of consultation going on. So there was a 6-week consultation period that was for Confidor and Garnteg schools to look at the proposals around the expansion of those schools. The consultations meetings did take place in both of those schools. At that point, it was just focused on the community's thoughts and feelings about should we go ahead with that, those expansions. Clearly, what we did in the cabinet report, that's why we didn't have a consultation with Victoria at the time. They were focused on those schools. Clearly, as an education service, we're very mindful, and many of you who are governors on schools will know this. If there's a suggestion that the school is likely for closure, or has been up to this closure is being discussed, that of itself can have an impact. So until we knew the outcome of the initial consultation around did the community feel and would Cabinet agree and where we were going with the expansion of Confidor and Garnteg, we weren't in a position to really then say, well, let's look at potential closure of Victoria. We had to do that first, which is really Councillor Mobley's point about the sequencing of things. So the consultations did take place in the schools that were concerned. All the head teachers who could have been impacted, all the head teachers in Torvine were also informed of what was happening. So I think we did that part of that consultation correctly. Obviously what we're talking about now is a much wider consultation with the whole community in terms of a full statutory consultation. In terms of the transport, we are now looking at that transport review. That will form part of the consultation that's been proposed, and that will clearly be a significant factor for many people in the upcoming consultations. So that's in progress and will be published as part of the document.
Thank you, Dermot.
Councillor Harris.
Thank you, Chair. I take it you are still Owens and haven't married an Adams. I note the decision to close Victoria Village Primary School and Bryn-Teg Nursery School has not been made as yet, and it's all down to consultation. But in my opinion, the writing is on the wall for this. I'd like to say that I will be supporting the challenge by Councillor Tomlinson today, but for very different reasons to Councillor Tomlinson, Councillor Clark and Councillor Davis, but I'll come back to that. There's been some interesting rhetoric from the petition from Councillor Clark, where she said that Bryn-Teg Nursery is the jewel in the crown. Councillor Tomlinson said that Victoria Village School is the heart of the community, and Councillor Davis added that it's fit for purpose. These closures are just two more in the overall master plan of this Labour Council. The closures are decided long before the Labour Cabinet pull out the rubber stamp. I was in Councillor Tomlinson's position last year and challenged the Cabinet's decision when they closed Snatchwood Primary School, otherwise known as Pont Newydd, for the very same reasons that Councillor Tomlinson put forward today. I also voted against the closure of Ponymoral School and other schools in the borough. None of these schools were in my ward, so there are no votes to be gained for my support for them. My reasons are genuine. All the school closures in the borough to date have generated opposition from ward councillors and could well impact on their votes.
Councillor Harris, I know, I understand, but can we try and keep on the point of
I am.
this school, not other schools in the
Yeah,
borough?
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. I am, and I said I'd refer back to why my reasons are different. And the Labour whip allows their opposition, knowing full well that the closure will go ahead. They have to be seen to be acting on behalf of their ward. I want to ask Councillor Tomlinson, why did he vote with Cabinet on the closure of Snatchwood School, where children attended that school from within his ward?
Again, I know this is not the arena to discuss why members have voted one way or the other when we are concentrating
I'm challenging.
on this consultation of the areas, not Snatchwood School. We're not
I think
talking about Snatchwood School.
I think the public need and have a right to know the transparency and the way that this is. The way that this is all steamrolled and the way that it's processed. There are many councillors here today from from the wards where school closures have taken place. I note the reasons from Councillor Tomlinson, but he voted against.
Again, and if anybody looks on record, they can see how other members have voted on any other school closures in the borough. But today, we are here to challenge the decision made at Cabinet to go out to consultation on this school. So I appreciate your views, Councillor Harris, but we need to keep on task, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I'll just elaborate that what you hear today is a Labour whip. They're allowed to vote what they like. The truth is that Labour is actually the party of cuts, and they are. If Councillor Tomlinson is so passionate about protesting against the closures in his ward, he's more than welcome to come back and stand as an independent and resign from the Labour Party today.
Right,
but
okay, I think we've gone
happen.
totally over the mark now, Councillor Harris, and we're not dealing with the issue that we're here facing. Councillor Davis.
I'm just going to say I'm quite offended by those remarks. After all, I've lived in Aberystwyth for all my life, 48, nearly 49 years. It's my home. I've always supported the ward. Even before I was a councillor, I fought against Pentoon School closing. I fought against St Francis School closing. I fought against our local church closing. I've always, to me, that ward is my home and my life. So I'm quite offended that Councillor Harris is saying I'm only doing this.
All the votes are in the ward, not on other. You voted for closures of all the other schools. It's on record.
So I'm just saying to the people on my board,
Well, thank you,
people
Councillor
people know
Davis.
me.
Again, we are here today to concentrate on the consultation and the challenge decision. If no other members are going to comment, Councillor Haynes.
Thank you very much. I fully support the challenge. I think the fact that so many people are objecting so early really does send a strong message. I think we need to listen to that message quite early on, and we need to not plough through this without question or full debate, etc. Again, back to the minutes of the previous school closure, there are comments throughout there about lack of consultation, etc. And it seems that we've made, we are here again with that sort of, those sort of comments. So I will be supporting the challenge. I think we are making a wrong move. The north of the borough seems to be being particularly affected by school closures. In such a small area, having so many schools closed is really worrying. So I support the challenge.
Thank you, Councillor Haynes. Councillor Barnett.
Right, thank you. Could I say that I'm a little bit concerned that our school children are being used as a political punch bag, if you like, in this debate? I agree with one thing that Councillor Harris has said when he says this is part of the overall Labour Council plan for education.
Councillor Barnett, can we keep on?
I'm stating that our overall council plan is to provide the best possible education for children wherever they live in this valley according to the guidelines of the 21st Century Schools programme. And I really think that we must support now the Cabinet decision to go out to the consultation because, as the lead officer for education said, this will involve the whole community, with those who yet to have children to go to school and whose children will be in school. way beyond perhaps the time that many of us will still be on the council. We need to look objectively.
Point of order, you corrected me for ranting on away from the consultation. Would you like to put Councillor Barnett back on track, please?
Right, back on track is if we go out to consultation, then we will encompass the widest possible views and ultimately make, obviously, the best possible decision for the education of our children. And I think it's incorrect to say that most of the schools shut in the borough have been in the north of the borough. They have not.
Councillor Karen.
Yeah, can I say there has been an inference here that this is a rubber stamp decision and that these schools will automatically close. I don't think that is an honest and objective way forward with this. And I would say that we in this authority have visited, as part of the schools monitoring subcommittee, we visited Victoria Primary School only last week. If we were going to rubber stamp the closure of this school, I don't think this is a school we would have visited and brought in for scrutiny at the schools monitoring subcommittee. I think this is an honest and objective attempt to look at the issues around 21st century schools, and I think we would be extremely foolish not to go forward with consultation, because it is what the community needs. They need to have a voice to be able to give their voice to what is happening in their community and their schools.
Councillor Thomas.
I was just going to say our community has got a voice and we sound in it.
Councillor Thomas.
Can I just say, I just echo really what Glyn has said, but there is an opportunity once the consultation has been completed, if that's what the committee agrees, to come back to scrutiny. And we would then take a very thorough approach to it and look at it, and we could then make recommendations to Cabinet. So, you know, there could be a consultation and a scrutiny, which we would do.
Right, okay. There's no other comments.
Can I call for a recorded vote, please, Chair?
There's no need for a recorded vote, because this is not council, this is just scrutiny. An overview and scrutiny committee, so I don't see the point of...
Point of order, there has been a recorded vote on similar issues through overview in the past, as you can see from this.
Okay, fine. It wasn't, no? Yeah, okay, that's fine. Recorded vote. Yeah. Yeah, right, okay. We'll concentrate on the Councillor Morby's amendment to note.
Can I just clarify, in summing up, in terms of the points made in the debate, that there has been no Labour Party whip on members at all?
Okay, thank you. So, right, scrutiny activity is as amended by Councillor Morby. To note the decision, can I have all those in favour to note the decision, to go back to consult? This is just for consultation. Oh, right, yeah, okay. You're going to do that then.
Members, we now have a recorded vote. When I call your name out, can you say you're in favour of the motion to note? To note the Cabinet report. Is everyone clear on that? Okay, thank you. Thank you. So I want you to say for or against. Councillor Ashley.
For.
Sorry.
For.
Okay. Councillor Barnett. For. Councillor Bevan's not here. Councillor Brooks is not here. Councillor Burnett.
Against.
Okay. Councillor Cowan.
For.
Councillor Crick. For. Councillor Cross is not here. Councillor Giles Davis.
Against.
Councillor Nigel Davis. No. Councillor Stuart Evans.
For.
Councillor Graham.
For.
Councillor Harris.
Against.
Councillor Haynes.
Against.
Councillor Jeremiah. Councillor Kemp.
For.
Councillor Marshall's not here. Councillor Mason is not here. Councillor Morby. Councillor Mills is not here. Councillor Owen. Councillor Parish.
For.
Councillor Powell.
For.
Councillor Rees.
For.
Councillor Graham-Smith's not here. Councillor Taylor.
For.
Councillor Thomas.
For.
Councillor Tomlinson. Councillor Waite.
Okay, members, thank you. The results are 15 for, 6 against. So the decision to note Cabinet decision stands. Okay? Right, thank you very much, everybody. I now close the meeting.